to start with the introduction. Greetings and welcome. My name is Corey May, and I welcome you to our program. Our guest pianist is Father Stroshine. You will see her momentarily. I have to give some introductions and props to Ms. Shaw. She is the page turner extraordinaire, so we must give her a round of applause. There are a couple of reasons why she gets this. I, at a previous performance, was tasked with page turning. Oh boy. And if we wanted this to go off very well, I was not supposed to be that person. So I'm very thankful for Ms. Shaw. I will get you a chocolate cake. It's on video. You will get a chocolate cake, homemade, from me. And for those of you who know me, I am a good baker.
So we want that kind of time. We want that in writing.
And should she even look at running out the door, someone please stick out the butt and trim her. I need her as much as I need Bara at this performance. This whole project came about for two reasons. One, Ara and I are in Toastmasters. It is an international speaking and leadership organization, and this is what we call a high-performance leadership project. That means we define a problem, create an opportunity, and fulfill it. The merging of poetry and music is our opportunity to help bridge some gaps, reach people through art, and hopefully create dialogue. You may see a 3x5 card on your seat. That is for you to jot down feelings that you might have about a particular piece of music, about a piece of poetry, so that at the end, when we have our question and answer session, we may be able to work that out. Just because there's a card on your seat does not mean it is safe for anyone but you. So pick a seat, pick up your card, and we can go from there. If you do not have a writing utensil, we have them over here, and we can hand them out. Two other people that I want to point out today. Jennifer Snook, she is also in Toastmasters. She is kind of the Swiss Army knife of the day. And Mary Schulte, the other Swiss Army knife of the day. This would not happen without all of you, and it would not happen without their help as well. A little bit of housekeeping. If you've got your cell phones, I don't mind if you have them on. Please turn them to silent or vibrate so that I cannot hear them, because I will look at you funnily during this. I will wait until folks get settled. Oh, please, by all means. There are refreshments here, refreshments for our stomachs, music for our soul, the opportunity for dialogue to engage our minds as we move forward together. Let's think about what we want to talk about and understand you are part of a community. I am part of your community, you are part of my community. Welcome. Our pianist of the evening, Ms. Ara Stroshine. Please welcome. Our first number will be Joshua Fitt's Battle of Jericho. This is a 19th century spiritual based on Joshua 6:15-21. The story has been passed down to us from generation to generation, and in the black community, it was often done orally. I would ask that you listen for the energy of this piece, the triumph, because Joshua fit the Battle of Jericho. Our next piece of poetry is by Phyllis Wheatley. She was considered to be the mother of African American literature. She was the first black poet to be published in America. She was taken from Senegal when she was 8, brought to Boston. She was educated by the Wheatley family. They were a wealthy merchant family. And around 13 years old, her poetry gained acclaim. Because she was black, many educated folk of the day said that there was no way that she could have written this poetry. And so she did a spirited defense, finally. She passed. But that did not allow her to be published in the States, so she had to return to Europe, get published there, and bring her books here. On being brought from Africa to America, 'twas mercy brought me from my pagan land, taught my benighted soul to understand that there is a God, that there is a Savior too. Once I redemption neither sought nor knew. Some view our sable race with scornful eye. Their color is a diabolical dye. Remember Christians, Negroes black as Cain, may be refined and join the angelic train. Phyllis. Musically, we're going to Kumbaya. Now, Kumbaya has of late received a bit of a taint on it because it means liberals who don't do anything and want to hold hands and everything is fine. But when we go back to the etymology of Kumbaya, it is from the Gullah dialect, and it means come by here. And it is asking Jesus to come by here and give us strength to endure. Kumbaya. Art, music and poetry sometimes gives us a wonderful feeling of cohesion and melodics. We're going to move into another segment of this presentation. Down by the Riverside, as adapted by Frederick Chevsky. Be warned, you will hear the melody, but Chevsky prides himself on dissonance, syncopation. It may make you feel uncomfortable, and that's okay. Whatever you are feeling, write it down. This is a hallmark of Chevsky's music. He is kind of a wild child. And you will understand that more when you hear this piece. Down by the Riverside, adaptation, Frederick Chevsky. ski. There will be more later in the program. Hamstrings, anyone? Hamstrings. The next two pieces are by Samuel Coleridge Taylor. He is known for the fact that he sounds like the poet Samuel Taylor Coleridge. That was done by his mother, who found him to be her favorite poet. You'll find that in many African American spirituals, the water is a consistent metaphor. Water. We can live days and days without food. We cannot live too long without water. In the Christian faith, baptisms happen in several different ways. Water under here, immersion. If we look at some theology, I believe it is Paul Tillich, that suggests that sin is an estrangement from God. And if we are estranged from God, let's look at God as a giant river. And that living water of God is right here. There are pools and eddies over here that are stale and brackish and weird. We have funky things growing in us like algae and mosquitoes and things like that. But when we're in a steady body of water that's constantly moving, we're renewed and refreshed, and there's energy and vibrancy. That's why the water is such a constant metaphor. Wade in the water is also a thought. If we were being pursued, it is easier to lose the scent by staying in the water. If we are hunted. Wade in the water, and sometimes I feel like a motherless child. We've all felt that time when nothing seems to go our way. Feel these, emote. Samuel Coleridge Taylor wanted to collaborate with the next author, and they did over a concert. We Wear the Mask, Paul Laurence Dunbar. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile, and mouth with myriad subtleties. Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs? Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. We smile, but, O great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but, oh, the clay is vile beneath our feet, and long the mile. But let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask.
Ooh.
You will soon get your Jeffsky's fix. Will be our next piece. One of the preeminent poets in American history, Mr. Langston Hughes, gives us Harlem. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or crust and sugar over like a syrupy soup? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? Winsboro Cotton Mill Blues, Frederick Jackson.
Sorry, you want to read your poem again? I'm going to say a couple words about this piece in particular. It is very, I can't think, demonstrative of what the title is. So it's depicting the cotton gin and this idea of machinery, and it has this contrast of humanity versus machine and power and all of that. And so it just does all of that. I won't give too many details. It covers a whole bunch of emotions, and it follows through the text of the poem, actually. And maybe later you can find the words online or figure out what is happening. See if you can figure out the storyline of what's happening in here. You have this idea of this, all this factory noise happening, and then out of that comes a blues melody, except where it's difficult to hear, and it has to do with not being able to communicate, and that idea of humanity not quite there. So it's quite powerful that way. And it can have a very numbing effect, because that's the effect it's supposed to have. And it can kind of be a little overwhelming. But anyway, I hope you enjoy it, and we'll just go from there. Maybe it will speak something.
moment to catch our breath. I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes. But I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow, I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody will dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America. This may seem incredibly topical. Let America be America again. Langston Hughes. Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain, seeking a home for himself, for he is free. America was never America to me. Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great strong land of love, where never kings connive, nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above. It was never America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath. For opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark? And who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro, bearing slavery's scars. I am the red man driven from the land. I am the immigrant, clutching the hope I seek, and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I am the young man, full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient, endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the men, of take the pay, of owning everyone for one's own greed. I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker sold to the machine. I am the Negro servant to you all. I am the people, humble, hungry, mean, hungry yet today despite the dream, beaten yet today, oh pioneers! I am the man who never got ahead, the poorest worker bartered through the years. Yet, I'm the one who dreamt our basic dream in the old world, while still a serf of kings, who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty daring sings in every brick and stone, in every furrow turned, that's made America the land it has become. Oh, I'm the man that sailed those early seas in search of what I meant to be my home, for I'm the one who left dark Ireland's shore, and Poland's plain, and England's glassy lea, and torn from black Africa's strand, I came to build a homeland of the free. The free? Who said the free? Not me, surely not me. The millions on relief today, the millions shot down when we strike, the millions who have nothing for our pay, for all the dreams we've dreamed, and the songs we've sung, and all the hopes we've held, and the flags we've hung, the millions who have nothing for our pay, except the dream that's almost dead today. Oh, let America be America again, the land that has never yet been, and yet must be, the land where every man is free, the land that's mine, the poor man's, Indians, Negroes, me, who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain, must bring back our mighty dream again. Sure, call me any ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain. From those who live like leeches on the people's lives, we must take back our land again, America. Oh yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me. And yet, I swear this oath, America will be. Out of the rack and ruin of our gangster death, the rape and rot of graft, of stealth and lies, we, the people, must redeem the land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains, and the endless plain. All the stretch of these great green states, and make America great again. 430.92 for Rodney King. So, the body of one black man is rag and stone, is mud and blood. The body of one black man contains no life worth loving, so the body of one black man is nobody. Mama, Mama, Mamacita, is there no value in this skin? Mama, Mama, if we are nothing, why should we spare the neighborhood? Mama, Mama, who will be next? And why should we save the pictures? Our last number. Children, go where I send. And tell it on the map. Our scripture. Teal, you can entertain questions. Pat, you have questions right now.
Arrange the,
I did.
How long did it take you to arrange the protest method? Yeah. Yes. How long?
I don't know. It was sort of in evolution for quite a while. I first kind of put it together for the MLK interfaith service, and then that got canceled. I didn't know I was going to need it until it was like 4 in the afternoon the day before. I was like, oh, okay. Great. Because all of a sudden, like, oh, you're going to be playing a medley of protest songs. Like, really? I didn't know that. Okay, thanks for the information. Let's see what I can do in about 45 minutes here. So that's when it first started, and then it kind of evolved around since and over this past month of different performances and such. The last time I played it was last Sunday, and Jennifer could attest that it's a little bit different from before. So that process has just kind of been continuous, depending on what I'm feeling at the moment and the vibe that I'm getting from my audience of how it goes. There's a general outline as to how it goes, but it kind of changes from time to time.
So does that lend itself to your improv background? You have written a book about improvisation in classical music, correct?
I guess so, Corey.
I didn't want you to just sit up here and be,
Yes. No. No. Yes.
we both are in Toastmasters, and this is one of those things that we help each other with, is impromptu speaking.
You're so kind.
I'm helping. I'm
There's
so-
actually a portion within the Jeffsky piece down by the Riverside. A couple of things about that composer is all of his music was meant as political statements that he wrote throughout his whole life, so they're about specific incidences or protests of certain situations that are going on. So these are written in 78 and 79. And another aspect that he uses a lot is he incorporates improvisation into his pieces. So there are some pieces that have a lot of improv in there for the performer. There's also some pieces that have speaking, the performer is playing, and then there's speaking with it. It's kind of interactive, multi-purpose and different things. So with this set, the two that I played, it comes from a set called the North American Ballads, and there are 4. The first one is entitled Dreadful Memories, the second, Which Side Are You On, and the third, Down by the Riverside, and the final one, Winsboro Continental Blues. And there are improv portions in both the Which Side Are You On and the Down by the Riverside. And so that also changes every time. Like sometimes you kind of just have to respond to that, to what's happening at the moment and such also. So that sometimes the things that, oh, that was really cool, but then, it doesn't happen right away back exactly as before. And so it's not a recreation, but it's a response to how things, to what's happening and to where you're going next.
how long have you been playing? Why piano, and do you play any other instruments?
Well, I started piano when I was 8.
I'm dealing with kick.
So I've been playing that long. Why piano? Because it's what my parents chose. I don't know. They had this big I remember they said this, and they we're both there, and they're like, so would you like to take piano lessons? And I was like, I don't know. I've never taken piano lessons before. And so I didn't say anything. So they just kind of looked at each other, and then okay, I guess we'll start her and see what happens. And that happened with that. When I was growing up, I also played flute and piccolo for about all through junior high and high school, and even into college a little bit during my undergrad. And then during my undergrad, I haven't really heard of this requirement elsewhere, but for some reason at the time they required 3 semesters of a minor instrument if you were a performance major. I'm not sure why. That's kind of obscure. But I needed 3 semesters, so I took 1 semester apart, which was very difficult. And then I took a summer of organ, and I kept those skills up. And then I was abroad for a while, and so I took a year, 6 months, an academic year of double bass. And that's the last time I took double. I really loved double bass. That was really cool. And that was kind of limited according to what options I had, because in the conservatory system, you have to only start instruments by a certain age, and if you exceed that age limit, then you can no longer study that instrument at the conservatory as a beginner. And so I had just a couple of options, and the double bass seemed most enticing. So that's what I did. And then I also took some harpsichord lessons when I was in Austria, and a little bit back in the States when I came back. So I have some harpsichord, baroque, and pop stuff that I do. So there's a difference of how you play certain things on the piano versus the harpsichord versus the organ. And that's just keyboard, funky stuff. Did I answer all your questions? Okay, great. Yes.
What do you call the method of playing, when you're playing Winsboro Cotton Mill Blues, what do you call the method of using almost your whole body, your arm, and it was by design, but what do you call that? That's the first part of the question. What do you call that?
Some different things. I have extended techniques is a term that is used, that when you ever play an instrument that you play it in a non-traditional fashion. So that would cover a number of techniques, and that would fall underneath there. And then this type of thing with all of that, and there's a little bit of that happened in the rivers, down by the riverside, that portion there, if you remember. Those are called chord clusters. So it's just this trying to get this math sound, and it's to create a certain emotion, not a certain emotion, but it evokes something very differently from tertiary chords, or even like chords of that sort, or 6 or whatever. So, yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, makes
Can I
sense.
follow up on that before you move on?
Yes, go ahead.
Does it in the music actually tell you to use your elbow, or is that something you chose to do? Use your arm or your elbow? I'm just curious.
This piece is actually quite explicit. I mean, explicit, but it's he didn't know what he was getting into. Okay, so this is the score. Okay, upper clutch of the forearm. See, so it has forearm there.
Forearm.
And then this is the top note. So the top of your forearm would then be
At that note.
where your elbow is, right?
Okay.
Because otherwise you can, yeah. And to cover that range, because my arms are actually too short. So it's a good thing I'm not like a big guy like he, because look, if Corey was playing this, he could have a much more massive sound. So then, yeah, that melody comes out on the top with, so it takes a little bit of practice and precision. You know.
Just a little.
Yes.
So so the music pieces came first and then you chose the written pieces? Or did you choose written pieces first and then?
Yes. It kind of came together. So
He
she
didn't
was-
tell me what he was going to be reading until I got here.
Oh. Step back before the lightning strikes you. No, we had worked out this before, but it was based on more on what I had heard her play. And once I'd figured out what it was, I wanted to throw in some poetry that was going to be the Lowry seasoned salt to the rest of her meal, so to speak.
Yeah. Although we've done this throughout, just like the past, I guess it started basically with Martin Luther going through the end of February now at this point.
Yes, at the end of February.
And
This
so
is,
each program is actually different. I haven't done the same program twice. So there's a different combination, which my poor program people are loving that aspect because it's not just a cut and paste. So that's also something that has been unique about this whole project, is because it's not just one program that I'm doing at 10 different places. Each place actually has its own different thing. In fact, I did sort of an educational thing at one of the junior high schools, and I had 8 different classes that I did over the course of a couple of days, and each one of those classes had a very different presentation. And that's just the way I do things and the way I teach and the way I work. I respond to what's given to me, and I might have a general idea of what I'm doing, but how I hook things together depends on what feedback and interaction I'm getting, and I move then accordingly likewise. And for example, he tried to make a video, and every single time our answers are different because it's the same information, but it has to, that's just the way I am. You should see his if you're trying to memorize things. Yes, did you have a question?
I could say something about every piece.
Sure.
I was very moved by everything.
There's another 30 minutes of stuff I could do too, 45 minutes.
But back to the Winsboro. I could just hear my mother say, "Stop drumming and practice."
my parents had the same reaction. I thought I was sounding good. I thought I was ahead of my time, and instead I was just a great
Improvise.
kid. Yes.
You're fine.
Yeah, I wish my jazz composer brother could have heard this program, especially the Winsboro Cotton Mill Blues. See, we grew up in the 50s in a town called Chester, Illinois, where there was a shoe factory right in the center of town. And that's exactly how it sounded through its open windows. But I was also reminded of Prokofiev's sonata in A.
He alludes to a number of different composers,
Yeah.
actually.
And
And each of those that he does, it's part of those hidden messages that he's expressing of the different political struggles that are occurring within those composers, and also how that contrasts or aligns to what's happening here. And he makes some connections that would seem at first very ironic. So, but that's a whole nother thing.
And with Wade in the Water, which I've heard my entire life, except today, I was reminded of, well, see, I'm a direct descendant of a fugitive slave named Henry Penny. And he was, and what the role of water in his escape was very vivid, because he escaped from a southern Missouri plantation, and a route of escape included the rolling waters of the Mississippi as he entered crossed into the free state of Illinois. And then on top of that, those same waters conveyed to him the love of his life named Rachel. But the water, and not only was the water as a route to freedom, but what I know about the 19th century history of the Mississippi River itself. So that really resonated with me on a personal level.
If anyone wants to buy a new piano, that's why you don't drop pianos, because they do funky stuff like that, and certain keys won't play. And, okay, so never go drop your piano, just FYI.
The first piece that you did, Joshua Fit the Battle, it was so gay, and it made me think of Scott Joplin Theater. And then when you did Kumbaya and Swing Low, it was very peaceful and restful, but I also felt like I was able to converse with God, and that having my personal time with Him during that time. So thank you.
was told I needed to warm up the audience before running into the chef ski, so.
Chef ski is now a verb. We just chef skied that, right?
Yes.
We'd like to arrange next.
I don't know. It all depends. Actually, I had spoken to Corey about this when this project first started, and I was going to do it for this year, but then, actually this performance today, but then I ran out of time. But I
Chef ski.
have actually an arrangement that I did kind of in my head a long, long time ago from when I was a lot younger, but just vocally, but there are certain spirituals, actually a number, and this also works with hymns too, that they kind of overlap as how you can place them on top of each other. So I was going to do a medley of Swing Low, Sweet Chariot with I Have Peace Like a River and This Train. Because it works, yeah. And I had it going in my head, and then it was kind of hard to follow. And I'm like, I don't have time to do this right now. I need to just find something else just to do. So, but that's what I did with that. And then another piece that we had talked about, which I was going to do on this program too, was the Strange Fruit, an arrangement of that. Except for as I was starting to put the program together, at that point I had the two Jeffsky pieces a little bit closer together, and it just seemed too much, way too much dark stuff. Like I just can't do that on this program right here. So that would be something that we have another project coming up, which we might do that. But yeah. Yes.
Two things, and you can take them in whichever order you want. When is your next present performance, if you have another? And the second question is, you play at Bethel AME Church in Iowa City, right? So is it possible that you may play a medley tomorrow, a spiritual medley tomorrow?
Well, the thing
Tomorrow
is,
she's booked. Yeah.
so we've done things at different community places, such as here. And tomorrow evening, I have a performance at the Congregational Church, which is sort of the second half of what happened last week. Last week, I did pure spirituals, about a good hour. A couple different ones in here, a couple that I included today weren't actually in that program. But then tomorrow, I'll be doing the full Jeffsky suite set. So that was going to be delightful. We're going to love it. We're going to love it. So that's what. And then there's another one on the 25th, which is going to be something a little bit more similar to this. It might be a little bit longer with some other things in there as well, but it's going to be a combination of some things that way. And then the other places, like I said, I did some things at a couple of schools and that sort of thing. The other thing that we've done is that we sort of done the sermon at some different congregations.
And we're doing it tomorrow morning.
So there's another one that we have tomorrow morning.
At First Presbyterian Church on Rochester, both the 8 o'clock and 10:30 services.
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't know I should be fine.
Yeah, yes, we are doing 8 o'clock.
Well, this is news to me. I thought you.
Jeffsky. We're Jeffskying right now.
Are you serious? I was
Yeah.
planning on being ready.
You will.
Well, you're going to have to come by yourself. Somehow people don't communicate fully with me. What on this last minute stuff?
You were on that email.
No.
What happens?
I wasn't supposed to be there till 10:30.
Yes, we're not bickering.
No, you said doing the sermon as in
Well,
your
one that
performance
happened.
would be it, or your giving a sermon, or?
Music
Actually-
and poetry, so much of what
Okay.
you would have
So
heard
like
today,
okay,
that's it.
gotcha.
There are Bible verses above, poetry, music, Bible verses afterwards, gray hairs.
And then, actually what happened, a couple of weeks ago, we were in Mount Vernon. And so for the other aspects of the service, the easy stuff like the prelude, offertory, postlude, and all, any sort of reflective music, and there were also some extra pieces that they added in. I've used different of these various arrangements of some of the spirituals, and then for the sermon portion, I did play 2 of the Shefty pieces. The Which Side Are You On, and then followed by Down by the Riverside. And then with that was, like you said, coupled with some poetry and then tied into the scripture passages. Yeah, so the music then ends up being, I don't know, it was like 30 minutes or I skipped off the improv portions just because of a time limit thing. So it's been interactive, engaging that way.
Mount Vernon
They've
was
let
where-
us like extend their services like 20 minutes, half an hour. So.
Yeah, Mount Vernon was where